through the papers for you this morning with radio presenter Ian Lee and theologian Vicky Beeching, which sounds very grand, Vicky.
It's really
there
not.
you go, theologian. Let's start with the Express. Should we Sunday Express, Vicky? Oh, there we go. If I put it in, it would help. A crackdown on BBC gore. This all to do with the watershed online.
It is, so it's interesting. Obviously, when I was growing up, 9 o'clock really was that line after which things with violence and gore were allowed to be shown. Before that, there was a sense of protection. But the whole internet revolution and the existence of catch-up TV on things like iPlayer has really changed all that. All you have to do when you access iPlayer is tick a box that says I'm over 16. There's actually no requirement to prove that. So the government are saying to the BBC, you really need to clamp down on this, because programmes like The Fall and some really kind of graphic shows that, especially with a feature on violence against women, which is something really close to my heart, to make sure children are protected from. These things are accessible to kids any time of day or night.
Not the BBC's responsibility, though, sure. If they're abiding by the laws of I don't know if it is a law, but the rules of the watershed, sure, it's the parents' responsibility to make sure their kids aren't at home watching things that are inappropriate. The BBC can't
there is a
police
parental
the
lock on
internet.
iPlayer, so I guess the solution is to ask parents to do that.
Yeah. I mean, would it be a shame to change content of programmes on that basis?
I think it would. One of the things the article's suggesting is re-editing of shows, which for anybody who writes a script or produces anything is just a horrific thought, isn't it, to ruin the kind of story arc.
Yeah.
So I don't really think that's a solution.
I'm a 40-year-old man. If I want to see sex and violence on my television or my iPad, then I should be allowed to do it. I should be allowed to do it. And if kids are watching it, then that's bad parenting.
Right.
When I say sex and violence, I don't mean any, just...
Yeah.
It's not
Like the Fall or Rupert Street.
Like the Fall or Rupert Street, yes.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the Mail on Sunday, which seems the most bizarre story.
This is fantastic. It's all in the headline. Thief sues police for refusing to make her a WPC. This is a woman who worked as a special constable, and she wanted to kind of upgrade, I guess, to become a real, in inverted commas, police officer. And she put forward her application, and the police went, oh, hang on a second, you've got previous for stealing from an employer, and you didn't mention it. She went, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I've got amnesia, but that's the only thing I forget. And she's actually put this forward. It says that, astonishingly, her claim has been backed by a renowned psychiatrist.
No name.
No name, no pact real. And it just seems incredible that she, I mean, you look into it's not a massive crime. She stole some makeup from an employer years ago. But if the rule is, if you have a criminal record, and you have to declare it, and you can't become a police officer, that's the rule.
But how can you become a special constable under that?
I don't
thought
know.
It was as vigorous.
I don't know if it is as vigorous, and if she slipped through the net and has been dropped from that as well, or if it's perhaps a little bit not quite so tight. I don't know.
It seems strange that she's got where she's
five.
got to, doesn't it? But I think it really makes a mockery of disability, because I don't think it's particularly likely. I mean, how do I know that she's got selective amnesia for one particular crime? But she's being listed as now disabled, and I think there's so many people fighting battles at the moment to get proper benefits and compensation. This really is making a mockery of that.
If your disability is you can't remember when you nicked a little bit of lipstick or blusher, well then...
Why are you looking at me?
No. Yeah.
I don't remember. I mean, I really don't.
I just think we've heard so many stories recently about the police being sued. There was that police officer who tripped over a curb and so sued the police.
Well, she changed her mind.
Did she in the end? Did that
she
change?
Changed her mind. But with all of this, the problem is we don't necessarily know the full story here.
No.
It's worth pointing out there might
Neither
be...
did she, apparently.
Well,
Yeah, I feel that there is more to this, I have to say.
You're not saying the Daily Mail may have taken a one-sided look at a story, do you?
No,
really?
well,
I would never say that.
there's always two sides to every story, says the diplomat. Let's talk about Iran, should we? And the apparent moderate who's won power.
Yes, so Iran have a new president. He got voted in with over 50% of the votes and a massive turnout that required 5 hours of extra opening for the poll stations. And people have been seen in the streets crying, hugging each other, celebrating, saying revolution is here. And I'm concerned about this, as I'm sure most of us are, because the supreme religious leader still holds all of the major power. He chose the candidates, and this guy is allegedly a moderate and a reformer, but you know, he's only the most moderate out of the lineup that were allowed.
He's a moderate conservative.
He's a moderate conservative who was allowed by the supreme leader, and he's put forward these pledges to bring equality to women and to improve the relationship with the West. But at the same time, if he's just a puppet, it almost feels like you're watching a strange sort of George Orwellian 1984 parade go past where they're saying revolution's here and it's not.
But is it a step in the right direction, even if only a very small one?
It has to be better than one of the really hardened people getting in, but if all the others behind the scenes, you know, pulling the strings all stay the same, I wonder whether they're just trying to pacify the people. Say, you know, we've given you your guy. Last time they were very angry, the last election, and there were riots because they felt like they hadn't got the guy they'd voted for. So I just wonder whether this is pacifying the people, saying, you know, yeah, here's your reformer, but now we're actually going to see, is there actually any power in the presidency, or is it the supreme leader who really controls everything?
Well, it's a tough one. I mean, they do say that you're going to unlock the doors to people's lives, but we shall see. Look, let's go to the Sunday Express. And Ian, I mean, this is people are going to be just irate. I mean, I hardly dare show.
Well,
the
if I'm
picture.
honest, I saw this picture and I laughed because I didn't quite appreciate what it was. I thought it was. I didn't read the story. I thought this is that someone's faked up this picture, aren't they clever? It's not fake. It's genuine. Bambi. A 10-year-old chestnut mare has been shot in the nose. It's just the most horrific picture. Shot in the nose by some thug. I don't think they've caught the person. They don't know who's doing it. They're looking at CCTV to find out. What? Why? Why? Where is the fun? Where is the laugh? Where is the imagination? Where is anything?
You do get this thing that pops up periodically of violence against, I mean, graphic violence against horses that just seems, I can't imagine what possesses
And I know,
people.
you know, people say, well, listen, we should be looking at violence against people. People are more important. Yeah, probably they are, but it's just such a selfish, nasty piece of work to do something like that. I just can't see where the kick is in that. Where the
It
fun?
says that it went 4 inches into her nose, and apparently the people previously just let her roam around, and now as a result of this they're going to install CCTV, which to me says, even in a little country field with your horse, no longer is there assumed safety. Now we need surveillance.
Well, they're worried that
Even
the attacker could come back.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's just hope they get caught. It's absolutely sickening, really is. The good news is, she's all right.
She's fine. She's good, and everything's going to be good. But I just think you're a little thug.
It's just horrible. And it was called Bambi. How could you hurt anyone called Bambi?
Well, that's a fair point.
Remember the movie, seeing it as a child and crying profusely in the cinema.
Yes, I can't watch it, actually, because it upset me. Look, we'll take a break. More come out for you in just a moment, including why ladybirds will be fewer and far between. So we're looking for the papers with Ian and with Vicky. Let's talk ladybirds.
I hate ladybirds.
Do you know
Why?
they are really vicious.
They bite.
What?
They
are
bite.
vicious, yeah.
They are horrible little things, and they bite, and they've got a real nip to them. Well, the good news is that you won't see some of the good news. The bad news for gardeners. You're not going to see so many of the 7 spotters. Now, the 7 spotters, they eat aphids, they do good things in the garden. And the reason I hate them is the last house I lived in before we moved, we just were infested with ladybirds. They would just come in through the windows, and we had literally, I was going to say hundreds, that's not literally, but 50, 60, 70 ladybirds.
It's like a horror movie.
It was disgusting. The only good thing about ladybirds is the name for a ladybird in Bulgarian is Kalinka Malinka, which I think isn't that nice?
That's impressive.
Isn't that nice? Apart from that, they're horrible. Yeah,
Flows off the tongue.
Thank you very much. Apart from that, they're horrible. We're going to see less and less of them, even though they've beaten off those nasty European ladybirds. Come over here, stealing all of our ladybird jobs.
Oh, those are the yellow ones?
Those are the yellowy ones, yes.
I didn't actually know there were that many kinds of
Oh,
ladybirds.
dearie
So
me.
reading this article, I've learned that there's not only the 7 spotter, there's the delightful 2 spotter, the 24 spotter, and apparently, according to this, one of their high-tech solutions for fixing the problem of these diminishing ladybirds is an app called I Record Ladybirds. So if you see a 7 spotter, if you've got good enough eyesight to count that there's 7 spots on this minute thing, before it bites you, you take a photo, you tweet it, or
You do a selfie.
You do a
of a
selfie with the
ladybird.
ladybird, and you send
Every
it
now
in.
and then I keep getting black ones with red spots.
You can get something for that. Oh, you mean the ladybirds? Yes. Really?
Which is a bit
Just
weird.
horrible.
Yeah.
Ladybird, fly away home. Your house is on fire and your children are all gone.
I think they're discriminating
Oh,
against.
That's a nursery rhyme, isn't it?
I've no idea. I've not
Never
heard that
heard
one
it.
before.
Never heard that before.
Ladybirds. Apparently, they're a good luck charm. That's what it says in the story.
Well, look, if they eat aphids, and aphids are all over my lupins, so there you go.
It's all about
60
you,
a
isn't
day
it?
they eat. They eat 60 a day.
It's all about my lupins. Look, it's been lovely. We'll see you again in an hour.
Thank you.
Look forward to that. Dig out some more insect stories for us. But let's get a check on the weather with Isabel.